I love old people. I always have. I've just been fascinated by people who are a lot older than I am. For as long as I remember, I've always enjoyed the company of people a little bit older, just because an older person just has been through so much and they have so many life experiences and stories to share, and it's fun. It's fun for me to listen to them and spend quality time with an older person. Plus, I've always been the kind of person to like to. I like to look at old pictures of, say, how a town used to look like 50 years ago, and then compare today and just see how things change. So talking to an older person is almost like creating that picture for me in my mind, just about how things were and what they are like now. And even in the past 2 or 3 years, I've begun to appreciate that time with my parents, who maybe not 60 or 70 years old, but I've began to appreciate, the advice I can get from them, when normally I would want to just ignore what my mom has to say. But now I see that she has lived through a lot more things I've done. She's made mistakes that maybe she don't want me to make, and I value her opinion, especially in relationships. Before I even go out on a date with someone, I ask my mom. I tell her about the girl, what I've been going through lately, and just the circumstances of the whole situation, and listen to her advice on it, and have her pray for me. And I think that's very important. And when I think about just people my age, teenagers, and even people in their mid-20s, and just society today, it just isn't biblical for us to spend all of our time with people our own age. I realize that society today is much different than what society was like thousands of years ago in the Bible. But I feel like we can learn so much from seeing how it was and comparing to what it is today. And maybe that's exactly what is wrong with society today. We spend all of our time with children our own age and not with adults. If you think about it, in biblical times, children would spend time with a rabbi, and oftentimes maybe about 10 kids with one rabbi. And if they didn't continue to move their way up and be discipled by that rabbi, they'd go to whatever their skill set would be, and spend all their time as an apprentice with an adult who is training them and molding them to be the kind of person that they should be, and be the kind of person and do the skill set that they're going to have for the rest of their life. And I realize, cultures are different, so it can't be exactly like that. But a big problem probably is that older people aren't investing the time in younger generations like they should be, and should have been. You see oftentimes fathers aren't being fathers, especially with divorce and everything, or the dad just pawning off, so to speak, the responsibility to another person. And I see that a lot in churches today with youth ministers. Nothing wrong with youth ministry. I loved it. I still enjoy spending time with my youth at my church. But instead of the church as a whole investing time in the teenagers, the middle school, high school, and college students in their church, it's almost like they're saying, we don't have time for you. Here's a 20-something-year-old fresh out of Bible college. He's going to supervise 50 kids. And how much can we learn from each other when we've all had the same life experiences, because everyone's our own age and we've done everything together? There are the occasional people who are beyond their years and much wiser than most people their age, and you can learn. I've learned from people my age. I've learned from people younger than me. But spending time with an adult who's, um, as I said before, made mistakes and had much more life experiences is where we're really going to learn and we're going to get that wisdom. And the godly influence from an older person is so important for me to become the kind of man I want to be. And I've said before, a smart person learns from their mistakes, but a wise person learns from the mistakes of others. And if I can learn from another person who's much older than me, who's already made the mistakes, then that is what's going to make me a wise person. And I feel like it is very important for us to spend time with those people who are older than us. And that's what I had on my mind tonight.